do we start?
Well, you can introduce us. Say, hi, I'm such and such. I'm interviewing such and such about. Or we can just say, let's talk about harmonious culture movement. I'm Lama Tantrapa, and I'm the creator of this modality of physical and mental training. Harmonious strength training is, let's start with just harmonious strength training. Today we're here to talk about harmonious strength training. I'm Lama Tantrapa, and I'm being interviewed by Aina Viv Herseth. Thank you, Aina, for interviewing me today, and we're going to just jump right into harmonious strength training, right?
Yes, yes. I am very curious to hear more about harmonious strength training, especially the origin of these methods.
Origin of harmonious strength training goes all the way back to the mythical Shambhala warriorship tradition, and that is the tradition of training where the warriors were not only fighters, but they were also the spiritual warriors. They were pursuing spiritual knowledge, self-mastery, and one of the aspects of self-mastery was actually becoming supremely strong, very capable. Plus, of course, it's also good to be strong when you're a warrior, when you're a defender of your nation, of your kingdom. So that's what Shambhala warriors were known for.
Okay. I would like to hear a little more about the benefits of these methods, harmonious strength training.
Well, the benefits are quite a few. Obviously, you get stronger. If you dedicate enough time to harmonious strength training, you're guaranteed to get stronger. And your strength will improve not only because you're exercising your muscles, but also because you're improving connection between the central nervous system and your muscles. Simply put, most people don't use their muscles fully. It's just like you're familiar probably with the idea that only a small percentage, maybe 10-15% of the brain is being used by most people. Well, the same applies to the musculature. Only 10-15% of it is being used by people who are not serious athletes or professional martial artists. In other words, there is a lot of muscles that we don't really use. Why? Because those muscle fibers don't get the memo. They don't get the signals from the central nervous system to contract. That's either because they don't get the signals at all, or because they get them late. And when they get them late, which may be minutes or even hours late, that's when they fire. That's one of the reasons why many people, after they work out, actually end up being more tense than they were before the workout. It's because those signals are still percolating and making their way to the muscles way after the workout is over. What we learn is how to make it so that this communication would be much more direct, on time, and delivered to the muscle fibers in much greater percentage. So instead of 10-15% of your muscle mass, you may use 20 or 30%. Seems like still only 20 or 30% of your muscle mass, but guess what? You're going to be twice as strong because you are using twice as many of those muscle fibers as compared to what you used to. And with more training, you may actually end up using 40 or 50% or even more of your muscle mass because you are going to be connecting this central nervous system and the little neurons that deliver the messages from the spinal cord to the muscles to deliver those messages in time. So that is one of the reasons. Instead of hypertrophy, which is basically the breakdown of the muscle fibers that then get regenerated and get bigger. That's basically how bodybuilding works. Instead of that, we can actually become stronger using the same muscle fibers that we have.
Mm.
With age, most people tend to lose some muscle mass. So we want to regain some of it. We don't want to just stay the way we are or even decline. We want to actually become stronger. And one of the aspects of our training is that we learn how to remember what it was like to be 20 or 30 or 40 years old when you were stronger, perhaps, and develop the ability to restore that strength. And that is one of the dreams most people have, to tap into the fountain of youth, to remember and relive what it was like to be younger, stronger, more limber, have better physique, and also, in addition to strength, we train for endurance.
Mm.
So that's one of the unique aspects of our training. It allows you to become not only stronger, but also develop endurance in one sitting, in the same sitting, in the same exercise. You actually get both strength and endurance, which is almost unheard of. It's like, how do you get both aerobic and anaerobic training in one sitting? Well, it's actually possible, and we have methodology for it that allows us to adjust the level of intensity on the fly, which literally means that we can experience the strength training in the beginning of the exercise, and as we continue, we reduce the intensity level without changing any settings in the machines or changing the weights that we're lifting, because we don't lift any weights and we don't use any exercise machines. That's another benefit. We just simply train without depending on any machinery, without having to go to the gym, without spending any time traveling to the gym and back. We don't even have to invest in the Bowflex or any other exercise machines that people want to use at home, which often they don't really use, even if they don't, even if they buy this machine or the weights that they thought of lifting at home, they often don't have enough discipline to actually train. And the reason why is because most of the training that people are familiar with or that they're taught at gyms is not harmonious. This harmonious exercise doesn't feel good to the body. And so people dread those exercises and they can't wait to stop doing them. And instead, harmonious strength training actually feels great. And that means that your body feels better when you train this way. So much so that you can't wait to do more of it.
And for who can train? Who can train this harmonious strength training? Or for who is it?
Who's it for?
Yeah, who's it for?
It's for people who are busy, maybe too busy to go to the gym on a regular basis and spend hours working out, and even more hours probably in traffic. It's also for those people who perhaps work from home and they don't have any desire to go to the gym, listen to the gym music, smell the smelly smells that they are usually at the gyms. How do I know? I actually own the gym. Used to own the gym back in Moscow, Russia. So I certainly don't find the gyms a very appealing environment. And so if I can skip the trip to the gym, great. I want to get stronger without having to deal with the gym atmosphere, with listening to the noise, waiting for people to be done with their machines so that I can actually use that station or lift the weights. And oftentimes people actually chat more in the gym than they train. It's like you meet up with the buddies and you start talking about this and that, or you're looking at some cute people that are exercising. And in other words, it's full of distractions. It's full of confusing approaches that often are not particularly helpful or sometimes outright dangerous. You lift weights just wrong, you're going to hurt your back. We actually make it so that it's almost impossible to hurt your back exercising using harmonious strength training. Why? Because we don't lift weights. Now, some people say, how in hell do you train if you don't lift weights, right? Well, we actually have a very smart way of using our own body. I'm not even talking about gravity. Yes, you can use the gravity and do some calisthenics, but we use a smarter way to train than even calisthenics. Now, it also creates greater balance. Why? Because we use muscles antagonists. So the muscles of the front versus muscles of the back. We want to create balance.
So balance and symmetry.
Symmetry between the right and left side. Most people, when they go to the gym, they train a lot more those muscles that they see in a mirror because they want to look good. How do you know that you are getting any benefits from your workout? Look in the mirror. And that's what you see, the muscles on the front of your body. You don't see the muscles in the back. So you don't give them anywhere as much attention. And without attention, they don't get as trained. So a lot of people train the muscles of the front a lot more than the muscles in the back, such as pecs or abs or biceps or anterior delts or quads. Most people want to have six-pack abs. Nobody wants to have six-pack backs. And I'm not talking about you're going to get a six-pack back. Maybe it's not what you want, but what you do want is create balance in your body so that your body is more proportionally developed and balanced, so that you're not crooked, so you're not hunched over, so that your back is not constantly on the verge of getting hurt. And that's what happens if you have greater strength in the abs than the muscles of the back. You're going to be constantly holding yourself in a way that you're literally on the verge of getting hurt. And just lift something heavy, boom, you're going to get a back pain. What we do is we train the muscles of the back as well as the muscles of the front so that they actually create greater balance for each other. We also work muscles, extensors and flexors against each other so that they have equal strength. The adductors and abductors so that they also have equal strength. All the muscles antagonists actually have an opportunity to work against each other and develop greater strength, equal strength, so that they would be in alignment. The whole body becomes in alignment, and as a result of that, the muscles can relax.
So both strength and more flexibility? Or?
Yes, flexibility is a result of greater relaxation. If you don't hold tension, you will have greater range of motion, greater flexibility. That's something that, again, sets apart the harmonious strength training from most other strength regimens. Because most people who lift weights or use heavy exercise machinery are familiar with what it feels like the following morning. You wake up in the morning after workout, and it's like, I'm sore all over the body. Why is that? Because you're going for hypertrophy. You have to break down the muscle fibers so that they would rebuild. What we're doing is we're not focusing on hypertrophy. As a result of that, we actually maintain the level of intensity that doesn't break the muscles. It doesn't harm the muscle fibers. It just simply makes them stronger and also creates greater communication between the central nervous system and the muscles. So that the signals that the central nervous system sends actually make their way to the muscles, which contract all together and give you greater strength with the existing muscle mass. So in other words, it's a really different approach to strength training, and it builds not only the physical strength but also inner strength. what's inner strength? What's resilience? It's also the ability to relax under pressure. It's also the ability to have greater self-discipline and self-mastery. That's right. Nobody is going to be hovering over your head telling you, you need to train, you need to lift this weight, you can push it, you can do it. You actually do it yourself.
Yeah.
But when you do it yourself enough, you develop the mental muscle, that discipline muscle that most people never develop because they're used to somebody else motivating them. And if you learn how to motivate yourself, that's the key to self-mastery.
Now, if I want to attend this program, where can I do that?
You can do it at harmoniousstrengthtraining.com. That's where our program lives. It's one of numerous websites that I have. And on this website, you can sign up for our program. It's a 3-month-long program. It's a great way to start the year. Most people in the beginning of the year have some New Year's resolutions in mind. But how many people who jumped into the opportunity to sign up for a membership at the gym are nowhere to be seen in February or March? January is a great month for gyms, for health clubs and other establishments like that. And then a month or two later, those people are nowhere to be seen. Why is that? Because they dread the exercise, because it doesn't feel good, because it requires getting into the car and traveling to the gym and changing clothes and then dealing with all the rigmarole in the gym exercise routine and then changing back, maybe taking a shower and then driving back home, maybe through traffic. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy. You have to dedicate an hour or two to the trip to the gym every other day or a couple of times a week. What we are doing is we are training smart instead of hard. We do what we call high intensity interval training. Anyone familiar with exercise physiology knows about HIIT, or high intensity interval training, as the most effective way to train. Well, that's exactly what Harmonious Strength Training provides to you. You use high intensity and then taper off, and then you relax. So by the time you're done with the training, you're actually more relaxed than you were before you started. Most people who are familiar with weightlifting or other types of strength training know that you don't end up being more relaxed after workout. No, you usually are more stiff. And like I said, the following morning you're going to be struggling and suffering with all kinds of tension and pain in the body. And what we're doing is we're training in such a way that we actually avoid this type of overtraining, so that we can do this again every day. We don't have to skip a day or two because we're hurting. We can train every day and several times a day. High intensity interval training usually is done in just 10-15 minutes increments, maybe even less. If you just train for 10 minutes, you can do it in the morning, you can do it at noon, you can do it in the afternoon, you can do it again in the evening. In other words, you give your body much more rounded and also much more effective training regimen, so that you feel good and this bleeds into your daily life. So this harmonious strength training leads to developing harmonious culture and movement, and you are the way you move. If you move harmoniously, you live in a harmonious way.
And when did this program start?
It starts in January. Just so that we hit the ground running with not just New Year's resolutions. We want to make the whole year harmonious, don't we? But if this is only a 3-month-long program, how do you make the whole year harmonious, right? Well, it's because you don't have to stop training once the program is over. You continue, you just learn how to do this. 3 months There's plenty of time to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't learn it over the course of 3 months for whatever reason, you will be welcome to retake it for free.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. If you feel like you didn't learn well enough and you need to retake this program again, please do it again at no charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, that's my guarantee.
Yeah.
If you completed the program but you don't feel like you really learned much or you didn't get stronger,
Mm-hmm.
that's the benefit you want.
Mm.
You don't want the money that you paid for the program. So offering money back guarantee is pointless because it's not the money that you want. You want the strength. Great. I will make sure that you get it. I will personally start adding more individual attention to each and every attendee in our program from this point on, so that everyone benefits as they choose to. And what they basically do is they develop their own sequence of practices that they feel would resonate the most with them, with their body, with their physique, with their energy, and also test, how is it working for me? If that something is working great, fantastic, grab it and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
If there is something that needs change, there is some room for improvement, well, let's see how you can change it. Let's see how you can improve it. Do it differently, maybe slow down. That's one of the things that we want to do. We want to slow down so that we give our body an opportunity to adjust and adapt. We also develop the ability to pay better attention to what we do if we do it slower. And the slower pace of training also enables us to synchronize our physical actions with our physiology, such as breathing.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's familiar with exercise physiology is probably familiar with the idea of entrainment. Basically, we want to create that synergy, that synchronization between the physical actions and physiological functions.
So this program contained with live coaching?
Yes. And also the training videos for all the different parts of the body. We have training videos so that you learn how to work on your arms, how to work on your muscles of the front, the muscles of the back, muscles of the shoulders, muscles of the neck. That's right. We train some of the parts of the body that are often overlooked. Often people who lift weights don't train their neck muscles, for example. Why? Because there's no way to train the muscles of the neck using weight. So they don't use any training for the muscles of the neck. As a result, the neck is often overlooked. Of course, we also train the torso, train the hips, train the thighs, both hamstrings and the quads, so that they're also in balance. Otherwise, if you only pay attention to the muscles you see in the mirror, which is mostly the quads, the muscles of the upper thighs, you may overlook the muscles of the back of the thighs, the hamstrings. The weak muscles that don't receive as much training will be constantly struggling against the stronger muscles antagonists. What does that mean? It means that they will be constantly holding undue tension. The weak muscles are the ones that are holding chronic tension. That's one of the myths that we also want to dispel. A lot of people confuse tension for strength. We don't want to think that tension equals strength. No, we want to understand that tension is the result of weakness of the muscles. Strong muscles perform their function without much ado. It's the weaker muscles that actually get overwhelmed with the task that they're being put to. And then they go into a spasm or they just hold chronic tension. So that is the reason why so many people suffer from tension in the hamstrings. It's because the hamstrings are weak. Strong muscles wouldn't be holding that tension. Same, for example, with the muscles of the back. Often people complain about tension in the back muscles. Not because those muscles are too strong. No, it's because they're weak. The weak muscles are the ones that need training. And that's obviously one of the approaches that we take.
Yeah.
And that will create greater balance.
Yeah.
Where there's balance, energy flows more freely through the body because there are no energy blockages. And energy blockages are the root cause of ill health, according to Oriental medicine.
Yeah.
So in a sense, what we're doing is we're addressing the root cause of ill health. It's one of the most effective ways to improve overall health and well-being of a person's organism.
Yeah. Well, I think the physical health and both physical and inner strength is two important parts that go well together.
Yes.
Is there anything else you would like to say in addition to this program coming up in January?
Yes, in addition to the group coaching sessions that will be held weekly, and in addition to the training videos that you'll be receiving for each of the parts of the body, for each of the modules of our program, I'm also going to offer an individual coaching session for every participant so that I can personally guide you through developing the most efficient and effective regimen of training, address your particular concerns or answer questions. If there are any health issues or any injuries or other things that need to be addressed, we'll address that. And essentially we'll create an individually tailored program that each of our participants will be able to start in the beginning of the year and go through the entire year following that program. And if they fall off the bandwagon for some reason, or they don't feel motivated, we also have an amazing international community of like-minded people that will be providing each other support, motivation, encouragement, sharing their best business practices, sharing their breakthroughs, and also ask for some help when necessary.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I think this is one of the best methods of both boosting your strength as well as improving the overall quality of life.
Okay. Well, I will say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think we did it.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Did he answer all the questions you wanted?
Yes, and I think very long interview.
Well, we'll chop it
See
down.
if we can, and also see about the start. I think the start could be a little more, how to say, softer. Like sometimes, not soft. I know you don't, but I think doing empowerment practice before, like a thing often help. Because when they start talking after 5 minutes, it's like become more natural and fluently. But I sometimes think if you do the empowerment practice before the interview, then it will actually